Welcome to Orange County Power Players, where we spotlight the personal, professional, and financial success stories of OC's top leaders. Here's your host, Danny Flores.
Welcome back to OC Power Players, where I interview some of the most successful people in Orange County. I'm Danny Flores, your host, and today's honored guest is Michele Harrington, zooming in from Aliso Viejo. Michele is a visionary business leader, CEO, and entrepreneur with a proven track record of scaling companies, driving revenue growth, and building powerhouse brands. As the CEO of California's largest privately held real estate company, Michele has led transformative growth, including a $1 billion volume increase in her first year, reclaiming the company's #1 market share position. Her expertise in recruiting, marketing, and revenue expansion through strategic partnerships has made her a key figure in real estate leadership and business growth. Before her current role, Michele founded, scaled, and successfully exited her own real estate companies, demonstrating her ability to build thriving businesses from the ground up. Beyond real estate, Michele is also the founder of Thin Blue Wine, a premium winery built on strong values and exceptional craftsmanship. She's leveraging her business acumen, direct-to-consumer expertise, and passion for innovation to build a mission-driven brand that resonates with wine lovers and patriots across the country. Her journey began in New Jersey, but her grit with leadership were forged with the United States Marine Corps, where she served as a C-130 aircraft mechanic while putting herself through college. She graduated from Chapman University and built a career rooted in discipline, strategic growth, and fearless execution. Michele's greatest joy comes from her family. She married Dave Harrington, a former sheriff, sergeant, and mayor, and together they have built their life of leadership, service, and impact, including adopting 2 children from Ethiopia, a longtime dream of Michele's. Now they have 5 children and live in California. Wow. Welcome, Michele.
Welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yes, absolutely. So tell us what you do now and how you got there. And before you start, I do have to say thank you for your service, for making this country a great country.
Thanks. I appreciate that. Well, it's been a crazy ride for sure. I never thought I'd be living in California or be anywhere near the level that I've gotten to in business. So I did join the Marine Corps when I was in college in New Jersey, and I always thought that that was kind of the path that I wanted to, the life I wanted was a military life. I loved the idea of serving the country. I loved the idea of the grit and the crawling around in the mud and shooting big guns and, all the reasons why people join the Marine Corps. And unfortunately, there's a lot more to it than just crawling around the mud and shooting big guns. There's a lot of bureaucracy, there's a lot of red tape, there's a lot of rules you have to follow. And what I realized after 4 years was I really don't like to follow rules. I was like, this is it. It was hard for me to be so, obedient, and that doesn't work well in the military. Like you kind of they expect obedience, and they need that, and that's great. And for some people, they can live a life that they can follow orders and have a great life that way. And I just wasn't that way. So when my enlistment was up, and, they asked me if I wanted to re-enlist, I was like, hell no. Like, no way. I did do a couple of years in the reserves after I got out of active duty. And while I was in active duty, I got to serve in Kuwait. And when I look back on my time in the Marine Corps, it was probably the most transformative thing I've ever done in my life, the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. And I'm glad that I enlisted. I'm glad I got to serve. I'm super happy that it gave me this level of gratitude, because I think when you grow up in the United States, you're so spoiled. You know what I mean? And that's just how it is. I mean, it's not our fault. We were born here. We're lucky enough to be born here, but you're so spoiled when you grow up here. And the one thing about the joining the military is your freedoms are gone. You don't have your freedom anymore. You don't have your freedom to dress the way you want, or talk the way you want, or go where you want. It's you're controlled. If you get in trouble, you're guilty till you're proven innocent. It's opposite of what you have when you're an American citizen. And it made me really long for that freedom that I had before I joined. So I wanted to do something where I was an entrepreneur. I knew I didn't like to follow orders. I knew how rebellious I was. I knew that I had the drive, but I didn't like to follow orders. So I'm getting out of the Marine Corps. I have no money. You obviously don't make a lot of money in the military.
Right. Yeah.
I'm in Orange County, the most expensive place one of the most expensive places in the country. What am I going to do to earn a living where I don't work for anybody? And I would have loved to have started a business, another type of business, but who's going to, give me the cash to do that? So the one business you can start where you have no money is real estate. It's
right.
I mean, it's a great business that way. There's no barrier to entry. You don't need an investor. You don't need capital. You need enough money to get your license and your first set of business cards, and you're on your way. So I decided, when I had maybe like 6 months left of my enlistment, I got my license, because I knew I wouldn't have a big runway even to, pay my bills. I saved up all my leave time. So when I got out of the Marine Corps, I had 90 days of what they called terminal leave. It was my last, 90 days of leave saved up, where I would get paid for 90 days. And my thought is, I have 90 days to get my first commission check, or I'm going to be homeless. That's motivation right there.
Yeah. That's a short runway right there. 90 days.
90 days.
That's like burning the boat. Like, you've burned the boat. There's no turning back here.
So much burning the boat. Burning the boat.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I did. I got my real estate license. I got my first commission, obviously, in 90 days, because I'm still here.
Yeah.
And from then, I just built on top of what I was building as a realtor, and I started just doing sales. And then what kind of dawned on me, it was like, I have my commission was probably 10 times more than what I was making as a Marine.
Right.
So I was like, what am I going to do with all this extra money? And I started investing, and I did a lot of investing, apartment buildings. I did flips. I did multiple units. I did like everything you could think about. And I ended up having about 75 units in the Long Beach area, and managed them myself. And this was probably about 2 years into my real estate career. And
so you're doing amazing. You're just killing it now.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the thing is that I think about real estate is that if you have the discipline, because there's nobody that's going to tell you, hey, wake up, reveille, put your boots on, it's like,
here I am.
Yeah. In real estate, it's kind of like, well, if you come into the office, I'll see you there. If you don't come into the office, I won't. And that there's not a lot of people that are holding you accountable. So it's really yourself that you need to hold accountable.
All you. Yes, all you.
Yeah, absolutely. So
what I have to ask, what year was that? Because things have changed in California drastically.
Yeah, so I got out of the Marine Corps it seems like I'm so old when I say this, but I got out of the Marine Corps in 97.
And you had your 75 units by what year? By
I would say 2001.
Very good. That was a great time to buy.
Yeah, it was great.
Yes.
It was wonderful. And It might have been like between 99 and 2001, now that I think about it.
Okay.
I
Okay.
accumulated them over a number of years.
Right.
And when, I had my units and I was managing them myself, and I was it was okay, but I wasn't completely satisfied with that. I thought I'm going to do real estate sales, then I'm going to be an investor. And
Mm-hmm.
I was an investor. I still was attached to a real estate company, obviously, but I was doing mostly investing. And I was kind of bored by that, collecting the rents and doing the property management. And I decided at one point, like, I think I really want to open my own company. I really want to teach agents how to, sell, how to build wealth, how to have a great career, because I
Mm-hmm.
feel very, very, very grateful
Mm-hmm.
for the industry, because what other industry could I have come out of the military with no money and built like a six-figure income in a year? Like, what? There, I don't think it exists. So I was very grateful for the industry, and I really wanted to help other people get into the industry and just develop their careers, because I think it's an amazing career. And it's not a lot of people's at that time. It wasn't a lot of people's first career. It was when I first got in, it was a lot of like teachers that retired that became agents, and you
Mm.
know, um, it was a second job.
Right.
It was a career after retirement. It wasn't a first career. And I really, like the idea of when I got in, there was nobody my age, in real estate. Now
Mm-hmm.
it's much more common for younger people in their first career to get into real estate because
Right.
everybody sees how great of an industry it is.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So I really wanted to help people like navigate through that. So I started a company. And I started as an independent for a very short period of time, and I was approached by a franchise. It was a anywhere franchise called ERA that used to kind of be big, and I'm not sure how big they are anymore. And they sold me a franchise, and I started growing, and it was fun. I loved teaching the agents. I loved helping people become entrepreneurs. I ended up buying companies because Anywhere would give you money to buy other companies.
Mm-hmm.
And I call it evil money because it's debt that they don't really make you believe is debt. And
Uh,
so I bought two other companies in San Diego, a company in San Clemente, and I was just growing and growing and growing. And then 2008 came and just wiped me out. Like, just took me down. I had no idea what hit me. I felt like a couple years ago, before that, I was on top of the world. I was making really good money, and then all of a sudden I was making no money. And I was like, this is not good.
right. Right.
So it's kind of like just going into I always, when I have situations, I use an acronym called PACE, Primary Alternate Contingency Emergency. And it's a military term, and that's your plan, like your primary plan, your alternate plan, your contingent plan, your emergency plan. So everything I did, I was like, okay, get out the PACE. What are we going to do? What's our primary plan? And it was basically like layoffs, office closures, like, trying to cut as quickly as possible so that the few commissions that were coming in would be enough to keep the lights on, but it wasn't enough. So then Anywhere comes knocking at the door, like, hey, Michelle, remember all that hundreds of thousands of dollars we gave you to buy all those companies? Well, they're not producing the way we thought they would be producing, so we want our money back. So it was
Dang.
a bad, bad situation. So
Mm-hmm.
they ended up forcing me to sell part of my company and basically close down the rest, and I lost it all. And that was 2008, and I cried in my soup for a minute. I thought, I don't have long to cry in my soup because I got a house and kids to support and
Mm-hmm.
all that stuff. I was a single mom. And so I cried in my soup for, like I said, a minute, and then started all over again. And I built another company, as an independent. I grew it to about 200 agents. I acquired one company and tacked on about 100 agents. And then in 2018, I sold it to First Team. And they approached me and said, "Are you interested in selling and becoming our broker of record?" And I was like, well, I was nervous about being with a bigger company because I was nervous about the rules that I had to follow. You know how I said
Yeah, you
I'm a
don't like
rebel.
rules. Yeah.
Like, I don't like rules.
Yeah.
I don't like somebody telling me what to do. So I was really nervous about being an entrepreneur for 20 something years and then all of a sudden having a job. I like the idea of having a paycheck. I haven't had a paycheck can,
Yeah.
come in every 2 weeks for 20 years. I mean, kind of like that idea, but I was definitely nervous. But First Team is such an entrepreneurial company. The founder obviously was an entrepreneur, a still single-owned entity, and it's been great for me. Now I get to influence and help over 2,000 agents build their businesses
Wow.
and run their offices and their teams, and I love that. And I became the CEO about 2 years ago and really led a rebrand, led a lot of growth. The company was kind of like in a little bit of a rut, and I got to get it out of that rut and really lead it into the future. And we're thriving now, even in a market that's not thriving. So it's been fun. And I can't say enough about discipline, grit, hard work. You go through those tough times, but if you just push and persevere and get through it and not let it get in your head and not, you can't let it stress you out. You have to do pace, every day. Like, what's my primary objective today? And then achieve that and, really working toward your goals. I mean, the sky's the limit. This industry is amazing. And I'm super grateful to be here.
That is such a cool story. I mean, you got beat to nothing and you came back and fought and built again.
Uh,
It's like that's resilience.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and
And I think our industry in general, it's so topsy-turvy. It's so hard. You don't know where your next paycheck is going to come from. I really, empathize with the agents that way. I understand what they're doing when they're trying to build their teams, build their companies, build their careers. And it's a hard industry. And it's an industry that a lot of people get into because the barrier of entry is so low. But
right,
I don't want that to change, because I think if the barrier of entry wasn't really low, I couldn't have gotten in. So I think it's great for somebody that is willing to really work hard and put in the effort and has a business mindset.
right,
And the people who can't make it, they're going to end up falling out. You'll always end up with the cream
right,
rising to the top. So there's no reason to make
mhm,
it harder in the beginning.
right.
Um, yeah, I think it's just a great industry to be in.
Yeah, because I think the people I think maybe sometimes the perception might be that, oh yeah, you can make a lot of money and that's true, but you have to earn it. You have to work hard, you have to be disciplined, you have to show up. Just because nobody's telling you to, you don't have to telling you to show up at a certain time, you just don't show up. Then that doesn't get any traction.
Yeah. And all these, like, reality real estate TV shows make it look very glamorous and, very, beneficial financially.
Mhm.
And I see that. My kids are like, "Wow, mom, is that what you do every day?" I'm like, "No, I would never wear that low cut blouse there," But
Right. Or that short skirt and high heels.
yeah. How would you even walk upstairs with those heels on? No.
Right.
So I'm like, that's not how it is, but it does glamorize it and it does make people want to get in. And so a lot of people get in every year. I mean, we have a big new agent licensing program. So we do hire a ton of brand new agents and we train them. But in reality, 80% of them are not going to make it through the year. And I think what you have to do when you're an owner or a manager or a team leader is really try to find those gems, those diamonds in the rough, and really coach them and mentor them and get them up to speed in their training. Because when you find a diamond, and we found so many of them, I have so many, great agents in my company that I hired as a brand new agent. And I'm so proud of them and the things they've accomplished. Dave Archuleta and Christian Stubbs and, Lily Campbell started with us as a brand new agent. She's got like 30% market share in Fountain Valley. So when you hire these brand new people and they become rock stars, it's like, I think that's so satisfying. And I love that part of the industry. It's satisfying to sell somebody their first home and everything like that. And I think that's a great, the agents that do what they do every day are amazing.
Right,
but for
right.
me, having built somebody's career helped, not that I built their career, but helped somebody build their career
Right.
and guided them along the way. Like, that's heaven,
Right. It's just, I think the feeling for you in being able to help the agents become who they've become is the same feeling they get when they're able to potentially sell a home to somebody new, right? It's the gratification of being able to help and see how it blossoms.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's the best. So I'm very grateful for the industry. I'm always trying to fight for it and make sure that we're here in 20 years, that the industry doesn't go away. We have so much going on with the lawsuits, the class actions, there's, I think regulation is the killer of anything entrepreneurial.
Right? Yeah.
And we have a lot of that. And I think we really need to be very diligent about making sure that the industry stays around, because not only is it a great career path for amazing people, but it is a great way to buy and sell a house, is to have a professional that's representing you and, looking out for your best interest. And then, I'm looking out for our agent's best interest. And it just kind of like, it's a great ecosystem. So
Right.
I hope we can
Right.
keep it.
Yeah, well, look at you have a big influence, and you sit in a place where you can potentially help guide the different leaders that are trying to change it, so that they understand what the repercussions are and some of the rules that they make. So it's, yeah, so you can definitely potentially help have some say in that, and that would be
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, for sure. Because I think we get so busy with our day to day, sometimes we forget. I don't forget because I'm hyper vigilant about I don't want to say I'm anti-government, but I mm, I
Anti rules. Don't make any more.
anti-rules. That's what it is. I'm anti-rules. I don't
Yeah,
like rules.
yeah. Don't make any more rules because we don't want to follow it.
Yeah. I think the problem when it comes to any industry is we tend to govern to the least common denominator. We tend to think that people are going to rip people off, or all agents are bad, or all people are corrupt. And it's just not true. You can't govern that way. You have to believe the best in people. I
Right.
believe the best in my agents are the best. I take their word. If it's a customer complaint about an agent, I believe my agent, because I trust my agents.
Right.
And we have to be able to trust people. We can't, try and bubble wrap everybody and
No,
try and
no.
make, buyer beware, try to take away buyer beware and, you know, make sure that the government is protecting everybody. We
Right.
have to
Right.
trust people, that people are smart enough to make good decisions, that not all realtors are trying to rip people off. I mean, you
Right.
have bad apples in any industry, but
Right.
you can't
Right.
govern to the bad apples. You govern to the averages.
Right.
And I think as long as we can kind of keep the rules to a minimum, that would make
Right.
me very
Right.
happy.
Yeah. And you guys spend a lot of time training. That's the thing, training and the do's and the don'ts for your agents. So that's
Yes.
gotta help, right?
Oh yeah, we do a ton of training and so that the agents know what to do, know what they're
Right.
supposed
Right.
to,
Yeah.
how they're supposed to represent, what a fiduciary relationship is, and all that. And then we have to, after we train them, we have to trust that they're gonna do and operate in an ethical manner. And when we find somebody that doesn't, obviously quick to fire, but we can't just think that people are not gonna hold their ethical standards to the highest level, because I think
Right.
most people do.
Right. Now there's nothing like a hard day of work in dealing what you're dealing with and being able to sit down and relax with a nice glass of wine. Tell us
Oh my
a bit
gosh.
about the wine business.
So the wine business is kind of crazy. My husband and I love wine. We have a bottle almost every night of the week. And we really started traveling to Paso Robles, the wine region up in the Central Coast, a lot.
Hmm.
And I thought he was retired from the Orange County Sheriff's Department. And I really wanted him to not be retired because you can't just
Okay.
sit on the couch all day while I'm working all the time. We had to find you a job.
Right. Yeah.
So he loved the wine business, and I was like, let's start a label that supports law enforcement, and we'll call it Thin Blue Wine, because the thin blue line flag is the police flag.
Right. Uh-huh. That's right.
Yeah. So we did kind of play on words, and we called it Thin Blue Wine. And initially, we bought wine from a winery that we knew called Jada, which is a very good winery in
Uh-huh.
Paso Robles. They sold us a couple of their barrels. We bottled it, and we sold out within a year. And it got me thinking, like, this is kind of like a nice business. I like the wine business.
Mhm.
It's the profit margins are way better, and it's a happy business. People aren't so stressed out all the time. People
Right.
are very
Right.
relaxed.
Yeah. Right. That's what
So
wine's for, right?
yeah, exactly. So we expanded the label to so we have thin blue wine, we have red wine and blue, we have a hose dragger for the firemen, we have 5150 for the medics, um we have the oath bottle for the military, and it's just all first responder labels. We sell it all online. We have a vineyard now in
Hmm.
Paso Robles where we produce the wine, and it's growing, and it's really exciting. And I think, eventually I'll retire out of the real estate business, but I'll never retire. So I'll be in the wine business, and I think that's going to be fun. And we'll probably have a lot of the realtors up to the winery and kind of combine the two and just make a lot of wine and have a lot of fun.
And have a lot of friends over. That's
Have a lot
very
of friends.
cool.
Everybody's my friend now. It's my best way
Yeah.
to recruit agents. I'm like, if you come work for our company, you get really good wine at a discount.
You get really good wine, and you know what? And you can give your clients that buy homes or sell homes a bottle of wine at the closing.
Exactly. Yes. It's
Wow.
a good fit.
Yeah, I think that's awesome to have you kind of dedicated to the first responders. Those are the people that are here on the front lines. They help us with the fires, they help us for incidents, they help us with going to the hospital with ambulance and all of that. Super important group of people in our society.
Yeah, for sure. And we do a lot donating back. We donate bottles all the time to their silent auctions. We're an official wine sponsor of the National Law Enforcement Memorial Foundation.
Mhm.
So it's a whole world, the real estate's a whole world. And then you get into this, other world, and it's exciting.
Oh
So I
yeah,
don't
yeah, for
sleep very
sure.
much. I kind of just work all the time, and that's
Right.
fine.
But that's not work because you
Yes.
enjoy it so much. You're just kind of just having a good time all day,
Yep. Exactly.
right? So
Yeah.
so so as we wrap up our interview, what's in store for the next 6 to 12 months? What's exciting?
Well, I think the market, hopefully Jerome Powell gets off of the Fed or quits or gets replaced, because if we don't get better interest rates here, I'm gonna freaking lose my mind. I mean, there's no reason why we are so pent up. I feel like the balloon is like, and it's gonna burst, and maybe they should have like lessened it up and lessened it up and lessened it up a little bit over the past year when inflation was under control, and they didn't. So now I feel like once he's out, they're gonna lower interest rates like a ton, and it's just gonna be a crazy mad rush of the real estate market. That kind of good. Our inventory is way up, so we could use the buyers in the
Mhm.
market. I just think it's seriously holding us back. I mean, 2025 we've had a rough couple years. 2023 was not good. 2024 was not much better. And we were really hoping that 2025 would be a better year. The lawsuits out of the way, all that stuff. And we've had a rough couple of years. And it just really hasn't started that way. And I think it's interest rate driven. And so I feel like, and I'm a diehard optimist, so don't always listen to me, but I feel like 2026 is going to be our year. It's got to be. We need these poor agents that have lost 30% of their business in 2023 and then another 20% in 2024. And like our agents, I feel like they need a rush. They need those interest rates to drop. It's not just like hurting American people, it's really hurting our industry. So I expect it to drop. I expect things to really take off. I expect us to make a lot of money in the next few years. That's what I want for my agents. I want them to be able to make money, to invest in real estate, to sock it away for times like 2023 and, have these amazing careers. So I'm looking forward to a great couple years in the future. And I'm so excited to see all the teams and the agents be really successful. And, hopefully some of them that have been doing this for a long time, they can have a couple of good years and then, retire and move up to wine country.
There you go. There you go. Switch from one to the other. Nothing wrong with that. Exciting.
Yes.
Well, Michele, thanks so much for sharing all these insights and what you do and with agents and in the real estate and the wine market. Now, if somebody's listening and they'd like to get a hold of you, how can they get a hold of you?
So anybody can always email me at Michele Harrington, Michele with one L, Michele Harrington at firstteam.com. Our website for the wine is thinbluewine.com. And I'm always up for a conversation. So my cell phone number is on the bottom of all my emails and anybody can always reach out to me. I love helping agents. I love helping entrepreneurs. I love helping veterans become entrepreneurs. So any of those things are right in my wheelhouse.
Very good. Well, thank you so much, Michele, for coming on the show. And to our audience, please go to ocpowerplayers.com and follow us on your favorite channel. Thank you, Michele. Last debriefing. Okay, so we'll publish in about 3 weeks. We'll also send you shorts. So in case if you post on social media, make it super easy for you to post. And then I didn't want to just kill the whole conversation on one topic, but what happened to your apartment business? Did you continue buying apartments? Or did you get out of that?
I sold them. I ended up selling them like right before I started the brokerage business. So I probably operated them till about 2020, 2000 and I didn't quite make it to 2005. That would have been great.
Yeah.
I
Well, you
think
never know, right?
yeah. So I did sell them though.
Okay. So here's what we do. We work with the executives such as yourselves and business owners in the alternative investment space, specifically in multifamily, but nothing in California anymore. Where we bring him in as partners and we're able to give him double-digit returns and, of course, the tax benefits that go along with that. Would that be something interested you'd be willing to look at?
Yeah, of course.
And it's like another half hour of your time that we can set up a call. I'll show you what we do, and then tell me what you think.
Yeah, I'd love to do that.
Okay, so let me real quick, let me pull up my calendar. Uh, media links. All right, so next week I have time on Wednesday or Thursday. How does that look for you?
Wednesday would be good.
Wednesday, let me check to see what time, between 2 and 4:30.
That would be perfect.
Um, Which of those times?
2.
2 o'clock. All right. Perfect. So what I'll do is I'll send you a link on there. And then also the link has a YouTube link to it that I
Okay.
talk a little bit about my story. So if you want to take a quick look at that before, so you a little
Okay.
bit you know my background, and then we'll see you next week.
All right. That sounds
All right,
good.
all right, Michelle. Thank you so much for coming on.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Okay, have a wonderful day.
Okay.
Sure.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Orange County Power Players. Want to share your success story? Apply to be a guest at ocpowerplayers.com/guest.